On our second day in Clearwater, we arrived at the offices of the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. That's a Scientology front group created expressly for the purpose of destroying psychiatry. While Bob was across the street talking to a few interested passerbys, our Scientology handlers arrived at the scene.
You don't think so? He's been being real quiet while you were talking to those wogs.
What's that?
Same, both we had a great,
No, I told him, I said, why don't you say these things you were saying about me to my face?
Yeah, no, he doesn't
He
have
didn't have anything to
that.
say about that. So then I asked him if he'd been drilling how to bull bait us, and he said, what's bull baiting?
That's cute, that's cute.
They're sweating a little bit.
That's cute.
So now see, it's going to start now that the wogs are gone. This is really interesting. They don't like to do it when these people are around. They don't want them to know what they're really like.
You're into psychiatry?
Yeah, I've been to a psychiatrist. Very useful, very helpful. Didn't have to hold any soup cans at all. Was on Prozac too. Loved it.
Yeah. Not surprised. What was your reason for visiting a psychiatrist?
Oh, I guess deep down it was because I was blown up in a volcano 75 million years ago and I just didn't realize what the true problem was.
I see.
Hi, Bob.
Scientology ethics.
Bob, this gentleman right here, who of course won't tell us his name, is wondering why we're here at the CCHR.
I was just wondering why you were protesting against human rights.
We're not protesting against human rights. We're protesting against the hypocrisy of Scientology's stand on human rights. There is not a single bone in the Scientology structure that in any way supports human rights. And let's talk, for example, about Scientology's creed. They say 7 times in that creed that people have inalienable rights. Now, are you familiar with what an alienable right is? It cannot be taken away. It's a God-given right. It can't be taken away. And one of those inalienable rights that the Church of Scientology falsely promotes in its creed is the right of anyone to speak to anyone and to say anything they want. Now, why is the Church of Scientology opposed to that happening? You know, I can't say what I want. I can't say what I want.
You're not making a whole lot of sense. You just said that that's part of a creed, and then you said, well, you're opposed to it. And then you said you're not opposed.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to Scientology's creed. It's a very noble creed. The problem is that Scientology doesn't live up to one thing in their creed.
Just pull yourself up, Bob.
It is total hypocrisy, and you know that.
Just pull yourself up.
It's total hypocrisy.
So you guys have been drilling this, how to get to him?
How to get to him?
Yeah.
It's total hypocrisy.
You guys are trying to bait him or something like they were trying to do in Boston?
Oh, yeah.
Well, what are you guys trying to do? How come you won't talk to anybody but him?
Well, no,
Well, why are you after him?
I talked to him. I talked to them all.
Uh-huh.
He's been talking to me, and I've been real thrilled about the conversations, too.
I'd like to hear some of the things you guys were saying last night. Why don't you say them now that I'm here? Why don't you go ahead?
What you talking about?
Should we roll the video back again and refresh your memory?
What are some of the names you were referring to some of my friends as, including Stacy?
Who's Stacy? Is that you?
You know, for a Scientologist, you sure are playing pretty dumb.
Oh, yeah. That was me, right. We'll roll the videotape. We'll let the world see who said it, okay? You know, it's like, Mark Bunker. You're talking about drinking last night. Mark Bunker went to LRH Way the other day, and the first thing they said to him, which was one of the first things they said to me at the Boston Org, oh yeah, Minton's drunk. Minton and Prince are drunk. Mark's never had a drink in his life. Why is everybody's got crimes, he's drunk, he took time off from beating his wife. That's what Mike Rinder says.
All the people who
Anybody who
criticize
fights Scientology.
He said it on Dateline. Did you see the show?
You
Or
believe
did
it?
they not let you watch it?
I believe you have plenty of crimes.
Well,
yeah?
see, that's what he's saying.
What kind of crime?
Everybody who criticizes Scientology is a
You
criminal.
name it, man.
Well,
name it.
Tick them off.
Tick them
Huh?
off.
Drinking last night?
Drinking's not a crime, but go
What
on
is he
with
being
that.
sec checked here? Are you going to send him to ethics? Why do you want to
If
know?
he's committed crimes, what sort of crimes are they? The only crime that he's ever done is, in your mind, is oppose Scientology, and that's a crime. You need to go get a life somewhere besides inside this church then. That's not a crime in the real world. In the real world, our Constitution says we can walk on the street and protest Scientology.
Walk?
Not in your doctrine, it says you can't. But in the real world, we can do this. We also have the same protecting the Constitution
You guys are a little
as you people
unstable.
do.
I think it's
Mentally
Where'd
unstable.
you get these lines from? Who's feeding you this stuff? to
See,
say
you
to
don't
us?
want to hear that. Then you change the subject on something else.
Why don't you just knock into me?
Do you have a permanent limp now? Collapsed lung, perhaps? Shall we alert your soccer team?
God, you sure are being quiet now that you know this mic's on, aren't you? You are. That's what it is. Well, everything he said is going to be on the
Your
internet.
wife for this one, Bob. Tell us about the affair.
He's bullbaiting you again, Bob.
Tell us about the affair.
His
your
TR0
wife and
bullbait's
child.
flat now. You can't bullbait him anymore.
Huh?
That's right, my bull bait's flat. You can't stimulate my bank, man.
Re-stimulate.
You can't re-stimulate my bank.
Can you correct him so he says the right stuff?
Well, I want him to say things
That's
that
it.
you can understand.
Okay, good. Just wind him up and then just let him off and then walk on and say what you want to say.
Excuse me? Could you repeat that? I didn't get that. Could you say that
You
again?
want to go have a beer with us?
Yeah!
Did we get that on tape?
Of course we did. We've got plenty of those type of comments on tape.
All I can say is you have changed a lot since the first time I met you. When you were really happy and just talking.
Now, you were asking why we're down here. Why are you folks down here?
Find out what's going on, all the signs and everything,
Well,
protesting human rights. It doesn't make sense.
Well, isn't it obvious we're doing the exact same thing we were doing yesterday?
No, it doesn't look like that at all, actually. It looks like you're protesting human rights.
Maybe we'll see at our
Bob,
next stop.
You should put out. Stop. You should put out a press release on it.
Press release, huh?
Yeah. About your affair. How many affairs have you had?
Press release.
This is one. Stacy.
How many have you had?
I don't remember L. Ron Hubbard putting out a press release when he
When he had
married
his
his
affairs.
second wife before divorcing his first wife. In fact, he didn't even put out a press release when he let his third wife go to prison and he went into exile.
How about Norman Starkey? How many affairs has he had?
No, we're talking about yours, Bob.
No, I think we
no,
should
we're
talk
talking-
about
no,
Now
Norman.
we're talking about his.
Let's talk
Now we're
about
talking
Norman.
about yours.
Ask
Let's talk about
Norman
Norman
about...
Starkey.
Put out a press release
No,
on
let's
YouTube.
ask Norman about
Yeah?
Paula Dane.
How is
Let's
your
ask-
wife and child,
Ask Norman
Bob?
what he did with Paula. Why don't you ask him that?
Paying alimony?
Send him up in your report
You
today.
paying money for it?
In your report today, when you send up your report about what happened today.
You want me to be a deadbeat dad like L. Ron Hubbard? Is that what you prefer?
The original
You
deadbeat
prefer
dad.
me to be the original deadbeat dad like L. Ron Hubbard?
Are you paying for it, Bob?
Where are you guys going next?
When you write your reports up today, include in there that I asked about Norman's affair with Paula Dane.
Where you guys
Paula
going
Ross,
next?
Barry Ross's wife. Do you remember him at all? Income. You want to talk about
What
OTD
expensive?
and the higher ranks of Scientology executive structure? We could do that. Bring you some info about some of these guys.
Thank you,
We're
Stacy.
kind of calling the kettle black. I would really say so.
What do you feel about breaking up a marriage? Do you feel good about it?
What do you feel about being out here and abusing people's civil rights? How do you feel about that? You don't feel bad about that at all.
Do you feel good about
When
it?
you get out of Scientology, you're going to look back on these days and feel real bad
do you think
about
that's
it.
morally right that you should do that?
Someday we're going to be sitting around having dinner together, and you're going to be saying, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I was doing these things to you guys, because you guys were right." One of these days.